Okay, guys, so as a result of a poll that I put up on my Instagram stories and on the community tab here on YouTube, you guys voted between Doja Cat and Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus definitely had more votes for me to do the chart analysis, so that's what I'm doing here today. And I hope that you can see this chart, because sometimes when I've enlarged it a little bit, it's gone out of focus, and I just really hope that didn't happen today. But anyway, I'm going to get into it. This video will not be edited, because also another problem I'm having with the software is when I edit, what's happening is it's making this image slightly out of focus. So that was a little bit annoying. You can still see, but hopefully this one's a lot clearer, because I'm not going to edit this at all. So this is Miley Cyrus's chart. So she's born on November 23rd, 1992, 4:19 p.m. Nashville, Tennessee, USA. Straight into the chart. First thing you'll notice about her chart is she has a sun in Sagittarius in the 7th house of relationships. The Libra house shows she's very naturally geared towards other people, naturally communicative as well, with the sun in Sag in an airy house, the Libra house, very disposed towards other people, one-on-one connections. And with the 7th house, I find that people with the sun in the 7th house, I actually have a sun in the 7th house and one's in Taurus. There is an enjoyment of communicating with other people. There is an enjoyment in understanding oneself through other people. So her relationships would be very important. And she does have the North Node also here in the 7th house, which shows destined relationships, fated relationships in this lifetime, that are very important to her as well. And the sun in Sag is someone who's very lighthearted, very effervescent, very outgoing, very free with their personal expression, very natural with their personal expression, and someone who likes to really enjoy life and enjoy their friendships and their connections with other people. With the sun aspects, the moon is conjunct the sun, though it's out of sign conjunction, because her moon is actually in Scorpio. Here we see, oops, sorry about that, that's messy. The moon in Scorpio in the 6th house. I'm being very 6th housey with that, fixing my messy circle around the moon. 26 degrees Scorpio moon conjunct the sun. So it shows that when she feels something, when she believes in something, it's a full knowing for her. So it wouldn't be a feeling of like necessarily like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this or not. It seems to me that once she makes a decision, she goes with it, because that sun conjunct moon shows that her sun and her moon, which is personality and the deeper self, are very connected, being that they're conjunct and they sort of flow within. The energies flow from the sun and moon quite well together. So her emotions and her personality flow well together. You don't see, like sometimes when you see a sun square moon, as an example, or a sun opposite moon, there can be this inner conflict that is sort of jarring in the personality, where a person may feel pulled towards one thing, but then they pull to something else that's opposite or different, and it causes inner conflict because there's an uncertainty or difficulty in reconciling these different forces. But in Miley's case, these forces are very cohesive, so there's a nice flow. Even though the sun is Sagittarius, that moon is at 26 degrees of Scorpio. It's moving towards Sagittarius, which is the 1 degree Sagittarius sun. Now, she also has a Pluto conjunct moon. That's a very intense, very, very intense aspect in the 6th house. So I feel this can create, when you have Pluto conjunct moon, a very intense personality, a very, very intense emotions. And when things get dark, they can get very, very dark. First of all, the moon's in fall in Scorpio, which is one of the most difficult placements for the emotions, because the emotions are very, very intense and everything is felt so acutely. Especially in the 6th house, there could be some anxiety issues that she may have struggled with in her life, or tried to escape from by, going into possibly darker things. And, I don't know if she had struggles with alcohol or with drugs or something like that. I don't know a lot about her in major detail. I know that her music's pretty interesting these days. I really like her songs these days. Her new stuff that she's put out recently is really, really good. So look, I don't know what she's been through, but except for obviously the divorce stuff with Liam Hemsworth, which a lot of people know about that. But I would say she's gone through something very difficult in terms of body image issues as well, because of the ascendant in Taurus, close to the anaretic degree there over this side, 28 degrees, almost 29. Taurus is a very physical sign, and and also Taurus relates to Venus, which is about value and what you value, value in self being the ascendant. And then to have Pluto conjunct Moon and Moon in Scorpio, it's like a double whammy of plutonic, deep, dark Pluto energy. And it's in the sixth house of the workings of the physical body. The sixth house is Virgo, it's the digestive tract. So there's something about some sensitivity perhaps with the physical body, or learning to be more sensitive with the body, because Pluto conjunct Moon in Scorpio can be very non-compromising energy. It can be very extreme. And, you know, I don't know if she ever had an eating disorder or anything like that. I'm not saying she did, I don't know, but I'm saying, like, with Pluto conjunct Moon in the sixth house of the physical body, there definitely could be some obsessive energies relating to, you know, physical body health, looking after the body. Sixth house can also be your work as well, and how you approach your work and daily routine. Sorry about the noise outside. There's people doing some stuff out the front, which I can hear. It sounds like they're loading up a truck. Sorry if that's coming to the video. But yeah, so Pluto conjunct Moon is a very intense, it can get very dark with that type of placement. It can mean that the person goes through some phases of life that are very crisis orientated. And I know actually that's one thing I'm thinking of, when her home burnt down with the fires that happened. I think that was last year. I'm not sure, but I know that I heard her speaking about that one time. And she's talking about rescuing all her pets. Sixth house rules animals, and that's a very crisis type energy. Not everyone goes through, you know, their home burning down. That's a pretty heavy thing to experience. So these type of experiences, very intense, dark, heavy experiences, would be experiences that someone's going to have with a Pluto conjunct Moon like that. Venus in the 8th house in Capricorn conjunct Uranus shows that she's very unique in her own way. You know, she expresses herself in a unique way. Uranus conjunct Venus can show a lack of conventionality in the personality and what one values. It's in the 8th house, again, a very deep house, a Scorpio Pluto house. Uranus conjunct Venus can also indicate unconventional relationships for sure, and being someone who is not so mainstream, you know, someone who's quite unique and different, and especially when it comes to Venus things, relationships, and so forth, they have a Uranian twist to them. So Uranus can create havoc in one's relationship life when it makes a strong aspect to Venus. It can also bring a lot of creativity though. So Venus is in Capricorn. So for her, this could be even related to her music. She has an eccentric, maybe a bit of a unique creative aspect or side to herself that comes from a deep place within her, because it's the 8th house. It's a deeper part of herself. And it does show that in her intimate life, there's some quirky energy, some eccentric, unusual experiences with relationships with Uranus conjunct Venus there. Neptune in the 9th house. Let's see what the aspects are with Neptune. Neptune conjunct Venus, Neptune square Jupiter. Okay, so Neptune in the 9th house would indicate that she may at times, because in Capricorn, she may at times, because conjunct Venus in the 8th house, have some struggles with her faith in a higher purpose, though that would be important to her because her sun's Sagittarius, and that's ruled by Jupiter, which to have faith in something, whether it's a philosophy, you know, your path, your creativity, other people, to have faith in life is very important. And it's Neptune's in the 9th house, so she'd be quite idealistic, I would say, with Neptune in the 9th house and Sun Sagittarius in the 7th house. She may have been a bit burned by people with the Moon in Scorpio, because often with the Moon in Scorpio, especially with Pluto conjunct Moon, just to go back to that for a second, there can be betrayals in the life of the person. 6th house can be working life, so she may have had people betray her in her working life. Yeah, so, and I do see that she does have Chiron square Sun, Moon, and Mercury. And that's actually coming from the 4th house of the emotions, but also the family. So there could have been some difficult experiences maybe that she doesn't talk about, you know, with Pluto conjunct a Scorpio Moon. This person that has this kind of aspect can be a vault. They can really hide their secrets well. And she's pretty communicative. She talks about a lot of stuff, I think, from what I've seen with her, some of the interviews that I've seen. She's pretty open. And that's the Sagittarius Sun in the 7th house. But at the same time, I can tell you now with Pluto conjunct Moon in Scorpio, she's going to have a lot of things that she keeps very secret. And they may not be bad things. They may just be very personal to her that she just does not want to divulge. And so some people may feel that at times she has a bit of a wall, or that she is hard to really access who she really is. She'd probably express that more through her music and with what her fans see, with her expression through music, the North Node in the seventh house, Sagittarius, self-expression, projecting that outwards to others. So I think with her music, she tends to express more of who she truly is, and her midheaven is Aquarius. So she channels through a lot of hard work with Saturn conjunct the midheaven in Aquarius into her career. So for Mylie, even though, you know, she was a child star in the spotlight from a young age, she actually has worked very hard. To have Saturn conjunct midheaven shows she's worked a lot through her life, that she's a hard worker. She's not someone that thinks that things will just fall into her lap. She actually puts a lot of effort into what she does based on her chart. The child star influence probably is this energy here, which is the South Node in the first house in Gemini. Gemini is a very young energy. It's a youthful sign. And it's interesting that South Node, the past life, is in the first house of self, identity, and the path. So it shows to me, you could read that as her coming into this life with some of these gifts kind of naturally placed upon her, with having been young and successful in the TV, acting and singing. So and Gemini often is an energy where you see people that are very good at acting, remembering lines, mimicking, you know, ways of expressing themselves that is required for a certain role. You know, it's a dual sign, so it can be different personalities. It's associated with acting, as well as Neptune and Pisces as well. And she does have Pisces over her 10th house as well as Aquarius here. So the house is divided, mostly Aquarius, but a little bit of Pisces there in the career sector. Let's see what else. Yeah, so I said her ascendant is near the anaretic degree of Taurus, which shows when you have something at the anaretic degree, kind of long periods or long stretches of time focused on something, and then a crisis and a turning point. And she has crisis energy quite strong in her chart with the Pluto conjunct Moon. Very heavy emotional experiences that she has to process a lot, do a lot of work on. She probably would have benefited from whatever therapy she's done in her life, because the sixth house is like sorting through, processing a lot of the emotions and trying to understand everything. She's coming up, I'm looking at the transits now just quickly. She's coming up to her Saturn return. You can see transiting Saturn on the outside here. These are the transits of Saturn's here. So this year, actually, I think it's around the time of, if I remember correctly, around May or so, Saturn will be around that degree of memory. And I don't think I've got an ephemeris here. No, I don't. Yeah, I can't check it right now, but definitely 2021, she's having a Saturn return, and will probably go into 2022 as well. So this is going to be pressurizing time for her with her career and with direction, where she's headed in her life. So yeah, anyone born around that year, 1992, would be having their Saturn return. So it is a time where you feel pressured, but you also can kind of reevaluate things. And for her, it's in the career sector. So she might be reevaluating her career in some way, but reevaluating where she's at with her work, with what she's doing. She might be doing extra work, and she might be under the pump with work, because the Saturn return does make it brings a lot of pressure, and you work quite hard under the Saturn return influences, like you do under the Saturn square Saturn and the Saturn opposition. But the Saturn return is a very key time of life where a person usually will reevaluate their career. In the 10th house, it will be career, and she'll be wanting to do something that, or she's probably already feeling this, because I've noticed with her music that she's doing now, there's this whole new vibe to it that she hasn't. I mean, she sort of had it before, but this is a whole new feeling with it. And so she might be going towards something more that feels more authentic to where she's at in her life now, with kind of this new level of maturity to it, I would say. Interesting to note, I was looking at some of her transits actually for when she separated or went through divorce with Liam Hemsworth. Just, to look at the transits and see when key events happen in life is always interesting. And I looked up online, it said they actually went through the divorce August 2019, so last year. And that was, at that time, she was having her progressed new moon. So I always look at the progressed moon. At the moment, progressed moon's in the 7th house of relationships. And at the time of the divorce, progressed moon was about around here, around 16 degrees or so. That was really messy. Around, let's see, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, it was around 16 degrees of Scorpio or so. Okay, so she was approaching, her progressed moon was in Scorpio, which had come out of Libra from the 5th house a couple of years prior. So she possibly met Liam when progressed moon was in the 5th house conjunct Jupiter here. Often people have a new relationship coming when the progressed moon's traveling through Libra. It was also her fifth house. So I would say, yeah, something significant happened in their relationship that was positive a few years back, probably 3 to 4 years back. I don't know when they met, but some positive energy was around them then. And then the progressive moon comes into Scorpio, and I think things would have got harder then for their relationship. In the 6th house, she may have been having some issues in her working life, in her general life. By the time the progressed moon was up here, that's when that's when they were divorcing. So, oh great, someone's starting some machinery outside. I'm going to finish this up. But anyway, the progressed moon was in Scorpio, and she was approaching her progressed new moon, which is when the progressed moon comes back to the original place that the moon is located in the chart. So that would have been a brand new time for her in recent times after the divorce. And now her progressed moon is in the 7th house, so she probably also has some new relationships around her now, or a new relationship around her at this time. Also at the time of the divorce, progressed Venus, which we see here down here on the table, he was 15 degrees of Aquarius, 15 degrees of Aquarius at the moment, but back at the time of the divorce, it was actually 13 degrees, which is exactly conjunct her natal Saturn at 13 degrees, and you can see the progressed moon still here. So the time of the divorce, progressed Venus, was exactly conjunct Saturn in the 10th house of marriage. 10th house is also career, but it's also commitments and marriage. So Venus was coming up against Saturn and pressurizing her. Her progressed moon was in fall position at the time of the divorce. So there was a lot of pressure on the connection at that time. But I just wanted to make a note of that. And I think that's all, because there's a lot of noise outside and it's probably annoying everybody. It's annoying me. So I'm going to finish. Thanks for watching, guys. And I want to do a few other ones of these, and I don't know if I'll continue with them. They have been fun to do. If you want me to keep doing them, let me know. And I'm going to end the video. Thanks for watching, everyone.